Hi, I'm Mayor Lyles, and as you're convening on Second Chance Employment, I want to recognize with a proclamation the importance of this person in the work that's being done with re-entry. Whereas the number of women in prison has been increasing 2 times the rate of growth of men since 1980, 80% of women in jails are mothers, and most of them are primary caretakers of their children. Whereas on February 28th, Charlotte City Manager Ron Carley announced that the city had banned the box for city job applications. And whereas Ramona Brant was sentenced to life in prison on February 2nd, 1995 for a first-time nonviolent drug conspiracy offense. Whereas Ramona received clemency on December the 15th, 2015 and was pardoned by President Obama after serving 21 years in federal prison. And whereas Ramona Bryant was employed by the City of Charlotte in 2016 until February 2018. Whereas during her incarceration, Ramona was an active member of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls, an organization created with a vision to end incarceration of women and girls. And whereas Ramona died unexpectedly on February 25th, 2018, at the time of her death, she was in the process of organizing an internal educational event for the City of Charlotte employees to improve second chance job opportunities. Now, therefore, I, Vi Alexander Lyles, Mayor of Charlotte, do hereby proclaim February 25th, 2021 as Ramona Brant Day. We miss you, Ramona. Have a great event.
Our dear friend Ramona died 3 years ago today. Honoring her legacy to change the narrative about people who have justice involvement can now live on. This is Ramona's story.
I had never been in trouble before, so I didn't understand the law and how it works. You take them to trial and they're going to give you the maximum. And that's what happened. I was dating a young man, which is the father of my children, and he was involved with drugs. When he was arrested, they wanted him to take a plea agreement, which he refused. And they told him if he didn't take the plea agreement, then I would be indicted. He felt that they didn't have anything against him and that he was going to take his case to trial. I was told that I was not going to do any prison time, just signed the plea agreement and everything was going to be fine. I arrived to court for my plea agreement and my lawyer was like, oh, by the way, you're going to have to do jail time. There was no understanding of how much time. They were just rushing me to sign a plea agreement and they said we work it out later. And when we completed in court, I was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. There are a lot of women in prison that are there because of their association with the man. Not necessarily that they were involved, but the knowing is what makes us guilty because we know that they're actually dealing drugs. So that alone will bring about a guilty conviction. And it's not to say that we were all totally innocent, but not guilty to the degree that we should be sentenced so seriously in the courts. One of the officers came up to me and told me that the president had called and I had received my computation. I was going home. It took me a minute to absorb and I started crying and some of the officers were like, well, how much time have you done? I said 21 years. And someone else asked, well, what was your sentence? And I said life. And I was like, oh my God. So they started crying because they couldn't believe that someone was sentenced to that amount of time. And then the next question is, well, who did you kill? And I said, no one. There was no violence in my case. But sitting there with the president today was, it was such a blessing to share our stories with the person that believed in us and to hear the stories similar but different. I just wonder, how did we make it through what we went through? It was a hard situation, but somehow we made it and we're standing and we're ready to persevere and become the citizens that we need to become in society if they would only accept us back out there and open doors of opportunities where it's work related or housing or we paid our debt and now we feel like we have to pay again and we're not sure how much more. I'm not sure how much more we're supposed to pay.